Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The thesis presented by the Lord in the 14th chapter regarding the three gunas, about what is the gunaswarupam, gunavrittam, gunana bandhakatvam, guna vritta nibandhasya purushasya yagati, etat sarvam mithya jnanam. So all the things presented by the Lord came to a conclusion that the life lived within the limits of the three gunas is a miserable existence, a relative existence, and there cannot be any absolute bliss whatsoever it may be. Therefore, naturally, one can ask a question, then is there anybody who has ever gone beyond the three gunas? If somebody has, what are the signs? And how does he respond in this world? And then the second thing is how he behaves, lives in this world. And ultimately, if we also have to attain that, what are the means? So keeping this thing in mind, Arjuna asked the question. And in reply to that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna gives first the subjective experience of a man who has transcended the limitations of the three gunas in his life in the 22nd verse. Prakasham cha pravrittim cha moham eva cha pandava na dveshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati. This appearance, upsurge of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, in the form of prakasha, pravritti and moha, the knowledge, dynamism and laziness, when these three are manifesting in whichever sequence, they do not disturb this man of steady wisdom who has transcended the three gunas. And disturbances are in the form of either liking or disliking. Therefore, na dveshti sampravrittani, na dveshti nivrittani, na dveshti, na kankshati sampravrittani, na kankshati nivrittani. Both ways it goes. So neither he hates their presence nor he likes their presence. Neither he hates their absence nor he likes their absence. In this manner, this wise man, he has very clear understanding about his own self to be beyond the three gunas. After having told this subjective experience, now how and under what attitude he functions in the world. This is said now in the 23rd verse. Udasina vadasino gunairyo na vichalyate guna vartanta ityeva yo vatisthati nengate. Udasinavat asinaha. Udasinavat means what? Na kasyachit paksham bhajate tatha ayam gunati tattva upaya marge avasthitaha asinaha atmavid gunaihi yaha sannyasi na vichalyate viveka darshana avasthataha. Now he is abiding in his nature so firmly that he does not become biased on account of the three gunas which are manifested in the form of the objective world, in the form of the subjective experiences, in the form of the instruments. So he is na kasyachit paksham bhajate. He does not become biased. This is one meaning. Udasina also is very deep word. Ut means utvai brahmano nama. Ut means that which is the highest one, the uppermost, the superiormost. Ut means above. Udva moola madashakam, that ut. So, this ut asina. So, above what? This wise man, Gunatita Purusha, he is abiding above the three gunas. That means Udasinam Adasinam. He is far above their field of impact, their field of modification, and therefore he is na vichalyate, he is not disturbed. So Ut Asina, abiding in the absolute, relative cannot disturb us. See? And when we are not abiding in the absolute, then the relative disturbs us. It is something like this, Many people, they come and have this question. Swamiji, do you believe in astrology? I said, I have no reason not to disbelieve or believe, because Jyotishya Shastra forms one of the 6 limbs of Vedas. So it must be true. I do not know. Without knowing what it is, how can I say I don't believe or I believe? No, I want to know, should we believe or not? I said, that is your subjective thing. How should I come in your way? No, somebody is telling me that this is, your grahas are not proper and therefore everything you do is disturbed. So, should we believe in that? I said, look here. If you believe in God, that He is taking care of me in the right way, then why do you bother about all other grahas and nakshatras? See, if you are knowing directly the Prime Minister, then why do you bother what will the Babu will say? Babu, who cares? You hold on to the highest. Therefore, Udasina Vadasinam. This Mahatma who is Gunatita, he is abiding in the absolute. And therefore, Gunaihi na vichalyate. Because these gunas create the relativity. Therefore, Udasinavad Gunati Tattva Upaya Marge Avasthitaha. And now this is the Upaya, this is the means of attaining freedom from the three gunas. So what is the three means? Now see, how we get entangled in this world. First, by habit. What is the habit? Our habit is, we have to get involved with everything whether it concerns us or not. That has become our habit. Something is happening somewhere, we must go and know. Somebody talking to somebody, we must go and poke our nose. Somebody's life is being lived by him or her, we must go and get involved. Now this has become such a habit that we just cannot stay apart. So what will be the first method, first step to attain the freedom from these three gunas? The first step will be learn to not participate unless required. That is called a drashta bhava. And when we practice this, then you will be able to apply this expertise when you are on the seat of meditation. On the seat of meditation, what happens? We are so much disturbed by our mind that we get disgusted. So many thoughts, one after another, and we are told by the teacher, what? Be witness, don't get disturbed by the thoughts. You may say, don't get disturbed, but we are getting disturbed. What to do? This is because we have trained ourselves. What we have trained? We have trained that anything that we see, we have to react. Anything that we hear, we have to react. And once you stop this reactionary thing, then you learn the technique of udasina vadasina. So, and this is gunatitva upaya marge avastitaha asinaha atmavit. This seeker of the truth who wants to go beyond the three gunas, gunaihi yaha sannyasi na vichalyate viveka darshana avasthataha. And therefore he is not disturbed by the three gunas. So, what is the method by which we can go beyond the three gunas? This is the first technique. Let us learn not to get involved with anything or anybody. Only once we should get involved or tell. Never second time. When you see anything for the first time, it doesn't create impression on your mind. When you do it the second time, the impression starts happening. Therefore, like somebody was asking me, Swamiji, you see, here we have told so many times one bulb is required, light is required, this corner is dark. But these people don't do. I don't know what I should do. I said, you have already done. What is that? You are becoming miserable, so continue to be miserable. No, Swamiji, this is what is making me disturb, what I should do. I said, please remember one thing in this world. When you have to deal with anybody, only once, you tell once, do this. If it is not done, over. See, this is one of the most important way that you are in this world, yet you are out of this world. Otherwise, this is what happens with the children and the parents. The parents go on nagging the children. Then it becomes their habit. But if there is somebody, some parent who tells only once, doesn't tell second time, the children understand. Mummy has told, better we do it or else over. She will never bother again. This is how the whole life is. Then only we are growing spiritually, going beyond the three gunas. Otherwise the same thing again and again and again. Now if this technique we develop, then we decide. Now we are sitting for meditation, now everything else is suspended. Other than this Tattva Chintan, nothing else is. Okay, so every other department switch off. And everything gets switched off. What a joy it will be. And this can happen when udasina vadasina gunaihi yona vichalyate. Therefore, what we have to do, vichalan, disturbance because of the guna, is reflected in terms of our reaction. So let us stop reacting in this world. Gunai yona vichalyate. And this can happen viveka darshana avasthanataha. Because we are now abiding under the influence of discrimination. So, now tad etas phuti karoti. Now this is explained by the Lord himself. How does he stand apart from gunaha karya karana vishayakara parinataha anyonyasmin vartante iti yaha avatishtati. Now what is his understanding? His understanding is these three gunas, they have modified themselves. Tamoguna has modified as the object of knowledge. The Sattva guna has modified as the mind and the sense organs. And the Rajoguna has modified as the organ of action and the prana shakti. So this is all going on in the three gunas. So guna vartante itteva. So gunaha, so which are those? Karya, the body, karana, the instruments, and vishayakara, the objects of knowledge. The sattva, rajas and tamas. And anyonyasmin vartante, they are mutually operating between among each other. And therefore, na ingate, na chalati, swarupavastaha eva bhavati ityartaha. And therefore he doesn't get disturbed and he abides in his own self. Now see, to come to this point there are many techniques. First, ashantasya kutas sukham. He who is ashanta, he is all the time disturbed. You will see disturbances are possible only about and because of the anatma. We are never disturbed as a pure self. We are disturbed only as a jiva, as a mind, as the experiences, as the world. But as the absolute reality, we are never disturbed. Therefore, even if we practice this as your spiritual practice, that you are refusing to get disturbed by anything. Slowly you will come out of the three gunas. Therefore, na ingate na chalati swarupa avastaha eva bhavati. He starts abiding in the self. He doesn't get disturbed. And further, sama dukkha sukha swasthaha samaloshnashma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiraha tulya nindatma samstutihi. Now we will see, we have seen rather, this samatva, this ability to remain equanimous, is the foundation of all the spiritual practice. Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoho shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samaha sanga vivarjitaha tulya ninda stutir mauni santushto jena kenachit. Samatva as the expression in the life of the devotee who is abiding in the absolute reality. Samatva sama dukkha swastaha samaloshnashma kanchanaha. This is also the description of the person who is beyond the three gunas. And then we go in the second chapter where Bhagwan is talking about the man of steady wisdom. And what is the man of steady wisdom's most important expression? So, yaha sarvatra anabhisneha tat tat prapya shubha shubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pradishtita. He remains equanimous, does not get disturbed by anything in this world. And as a result, prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasya upajayate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi pari avatishtate. And therefore, he is always cheerful and happy. And he who is cheerful and happy, he alone is in the proximity of God. Therefore, whether you walk the path of karma, you walk the path of devotion, or you walk the path of yoga. In yoga also we have seen Atmaupamena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna. Or you walk the path of this gunatita. Ultimately, all of them come to the one common platform, samatvam yoga uchyate. See, nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmate brahmani sthitaha. So, samaha dukkha sukha swastaha. He is sama dukkha sukha, same sukha dukkhe yasya sa sama dukkha sukha. He for whom joys and sorrows are equal. Does it mean that he has become numb? See, when a person is numb, when a person is suffering from leprosy, he does not get the experience of hot or cold because his nerves are dead. So, do we mean that this wise man is sama dukkha sukha, he has become dull-witted? Even under anesthesia we become sama dukkha sukha. This is what it is said. So, no. Then, swastaha, Sve Atmani Sthitaha Prasannaha. This is very important. See? Therefore, spiritual practice is not ending up in the disgusted existence of life. Yesterday when those people came, they said, Swamiji, we do so much of japa and we do this much of pradakshina and this and that. Even then, why we are feeling like that? I said, stop that. Very simple. There is one person in Bombay, he teaches to the students of chartered accountants, and he is number one teacher in Bombay. He comes whenever he is free for my lectures regularly, last 3, 4, 5 years. And when I go for food in that South Bombay, there also he comes. So one day he asked me this question, Swamiji, I have been doing japa, going to temple, but it is not yielding any results. I am doing it mechanically. So what do you suggest me? I said, if you are very clear that you are doing it as mechanically, going to temple, this and that thing, and it is not really helping you, be courageous to drop it. Don't bother. Forget about it. And then tell me what happened. So, after 2 days again he says, Swamiji, I tried to stop chanting the Lord's name. That was making me more miserable. Then I said, therefore, your conclusion that chanting the Lord's name has not helped you is wrong, is it not? See? So you become aware. The more aware you are, you will see that everything is properly sorted out. And the more aware you are, more prasanna you are. Prasanna means what? You are so alert, you are so fresh that you will hardly misunderstand anything. The truth will be recognized as it is. Because prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi pariyavatishtate. A person with a cheerful disposition, undisturbed mind, happy go, such a person alone can think of God. Miserable people, do you think that miserable people think of God? They think of misery. Artho jidnyasu artharthi. Do you think they go to God for the sake of the God? No. There are two persons going to the doctor. One is the patient. Do you think the patient goes to the doctor to see the doctor? He goes to see that his disease is cured. And the other person goes to the doctor, his friend. He is healthy, he goes still, but he has friendship with the doctor. In the same manner, sama dukkha sukha does not mean it is a negative aspect of life, but he is able to rise above. This is the meaning. Otherwise, what is the life? Some miserable thing happens, you are still happy. Why? Sama dukkha sukha. So when miseries come, you become happy. And when the happiness, you become miserable. That abnormality is not spoken of here. What is meant is the sukha dukkha. He is able to receive them with equanimity. The sukhas and the dukkhas, the joys and the sorrows, do not disturb his equanimity. And when our equanimity is not disturbed, then alone we can progress spiritually, not otherwise. Nay, perfect equanimity is Parabrahma Paramatma. Nirdosham hi samam Brahma, tasmate Brahmane sthitaha. Therefore, sama dukkha sukha, this becomes the method of attaining freedom from the three gunas. Then for that, what is the alamban, what is the support? Support is swastaha. Atmaneva atmana tushtaha. See? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmaneva atmana tushtaha. So when the worldly experiences do not disturb the equanimity, as a result of which he is able to be continuously, firmly abiding in his own self. So, asmin sthiti, sve atmani sthitaha prasannaha. And if we are firmly abiding in our self, and what is the self? Self is Ananda Swarupa. See? That is why those who are really abiding in the self, they are never miserable. They cannot be. And those who are abiding in the self and yet they are miserable, then they have mistaken the meaning of the self as the body or the ego, etc. So, this is one. Now, the second thing. Samaloštashma kanchanaha. Here also samatva. Loshtacha ashmacha kanchanancha samani yasya sabaloštashma kanchanaha. Now, what is the meaning of this? Loshta, ashma and kanchana. The clay, the stone, and the kanchana, the gold. He for him whom all three are equal. Means, is he that dull-witted that he can't even differentiate between the stone and the clay and the gold? No, that is not the meaning. What is meant is, he has nothing to gain from this world because he is now firmly abiding his own self. And therefore, all the worldly objects are equally important or equally not important for him. This is the meaning. See, why we will differentiate somebody or something as important or less important? Like, you are writing now. Suppose, while writing, your pencil, head breaks. And you don't have the sharpener. Now, that time, the most important and valuable thing in the whole universe is the tip of the pencil. That's it. See? So, whenever we have any purpose from the world, then only this utility approach begins in life. Utility is meaningful only if I have accepted myself to be incomplete. You remember in the 4th chapter of Panchadashi, there we were told, Isha Karya Jiva Bhogya. A woman is created by God. So she is the creation of God. And she is Bhogya Vastu for her husband, for her son, for her father, because there is a utility associated with something, is called as Bhoga. Now, when this Mahatma who is abiding in the self, he has nothing to be looked upon as a useful thing. What will happen? He will neither be attracted towards anything, nor he will be disturbed by anything. Therefore, Samaloštashma Kanchanaha means he is not the utilitarian. Then, Tulya Priya Priyo Dhiraha. Now, such a person is Tulya, equanimous, Priya Apriya. Priya Apriya is what? That what we like, and Apriyam cha, that we don't like. Tulye Same Yasya Saha Ayam Tulya Priya Priyaha. That means he does not function under the influence of the likes and dislikes. Now here please understand, it is not meant here that we should like everything or we should not dislike everything. This is not meant. What is meant, that even if there are likes and dislikes in his mind for something, he does not come under their influence. See? That is important. Like, we come across many people, they are all the time cheerful and happy. I always, adore such people. The other day, some laborers were going, from their school construction project. Whole day they are working there, day and night, And then he has to go all the way through the darkness and rains and bad road. And even the small children, the small girls, they go to that shop, buy little bit of coriander leaves, chilies and sabji and all that, enough for that day because they don't have more money. And again they go back. After that it is cooked and then they eat. And hey, how are you? Oh, everything is so fine. See? Therefore, what is meant here, that priya apriya. It is not that they don't like comfort, they do like. It is not that they dislike the discomfort, they don't really dislike the comforts. But the question is, are they influenced by that? That is important. Therefore, more than what we have, what is important is how we are with what we have. That is the glory and the greatness of this man who has transcended the limits of these three gunas. Then, dhiraha, dhiman. Now how he is able to maintain this? Because dhiras tatrana muhyati. The one who is miserable, he is not a dhira purush. The one who is deluded, he is not a dhira purush. And this wise man is abiding in the self, and therefore gatasuna gatasuscha nanu shochanti panditaha. The wise people don't grieve. Like, yam hina vyatayante te purusham purushar sama dukkha sukham dhiram saha amritatvaya kalpate. So dhira is the one whose equanimity is undisturbed. Now tulya nindatma samstitihi, ninda cha atma samstiti cha tulya nindatma samstiti yasya yatehe sa ninda tulya nindatma samstitihi. He for whom the glorification and the condemnation is same. What is the reason? There is one shloka in some place where it is said, if somebody is condemning me bodily, he is helping me in my spiritual practice. Because I also do the same thing. I am not the body, and if somebody condemns me bodily, then he is helping me. Really, I am not the body, thank you. And if somebody is condemning me as the absolute self, then he is condemning himself, because he is not other than me, and he has got every right to do anything with himself. In this manner, the Atma Samstuti or the Ninda does not disturb this, because all these Ninda Stuti, it never comes from the wise people. Wise people never appreciate or condemn anything. Everything is going is Lord's will. This is the last Upadesh given by Bhagwan Sri Krishna before he disappeared from this world to Uddhavji. This is the last instruction. And what is that instruction? Nastuvita na nindita. Don't glorify somebody so much and don't condemn anybody. Then you move in this world abiding in yourself. Because when you condemn somebody, you have to find out faults. When you glorify somebody, you have to see something good. And both these things take you away from your own self. Therefore, when somebody condemns him or somebody glorifies, he is undisturbed. So neither he condemns anybody nor he gets condemned. Continuing, mana pamanayos tulyaha tulyo mitrari pakshayoho sarvarambha parityagi गुणातीतस्य उच्यते मानापमानयोः तुल्यः समः निर्विकारः तुल्य मित्र अविपक्षयोः. Now manapamana, respect and disrespect, these are our own definitions that we have developed according to the tradition, according to the society where we are brought up. See? If you see in the Western world, when elders come, the youngsters don't get up. They do not show any physical change in their posture, etc. as an expression of respect. They don't say. Because this is how their culture is. But they will say, hi. Or else, Another tradition. There everybody says, the children also hear all the time, have a good day. Now this comes by default. So when the mothers go to leave the children in the school, the child is hardly 3 years. And that time the child tells the mother, Mom, have a good day. Look here. Now do you think the child understands what she is saying? It is just a tradition. So, when we understand this, when somebody gets up or somebody doesn't get up, this is how that person is brought up. But we are in a totally different situation. And therefore, if we go and people do not get up and respect us, we feel hurt. Why? Because we have conditioned ourselves. Deconditioning is called as spiritual growth, not conditioning. Therefore, mana apamana yoho tulyaha. Like, other example. In our country, whenever we refer anybody, we add by law Shri Abdul Ghaffar Khan. See? Shri has to be added. In the British culture also, Mr. His Highness, Her Highness, His Holiness has to be added. You go to the American culture. George Bush, Bill Clinton, they never add once even Mr. Do you mean that they are insulting? No, they are not insulting. That is their way of living. Therefore, mana, apamana, these are our own imaginations. And if we know this is imagination, then you will never get hurt or insulted. It is something like, if a child comes and is playing, the other day, when I went to Bombay, so one girl, she is appearing for her 12th examination. So she came, Swamiji, I have come to take your blessing from you, please bless me. Because the other day her mother, father came, she could not come. I said, okay, come, I am there for 10 minutes, you come there. She came. And after she came and then did Namaskar Chamatkar, and then she said, Swamiji, and she just cares me and my face and kiss on my cheek. Swamiji, my father also has a beard, but his is like the steel filing. What is that? Because of that your beard is so soft. I said, what is inside? That is outside. It's not different. Now when she was thus doing, there was some other, elderly lady. Don't do like that. Swamiji said. I said, Amma, if she is doing it, it's okay. If you do, then you get it back. Because this is our own imagination. If somebody does and touch the feet from a distance, then it is a respect. If somebody comes and goes and hugs, it is a disrespect. Therefore, this mana, apamana does not have any place in the outer world. It is our own mind's creation. So, mana apamanayo tulyaha. He who is thus abiding in the self, he is able to understand this is the way it is. Therefore, nobody has any interest in insulting us or in honoring us. This is their tradition, that's it. Then, nirvikaraha, tulyo mitrari pakshayoho. Now here also, Bhagwan's commentary is very good. Yadyapi udasinaha bhavanti kechit swa abhiprayena. Although there are people who remain undisturbed, udasina, rise above, that there is nothing like friend or enemy. They are not friendly or inimical to anybody. It is possible. But tathapi para abhiprayena mitra aripakshayoho. But if others are treating you as a friend or the enemy, then what can you do? And therefore, mitrari pakshayoho tulyaha. So even if somebody considers such a wise man as a friend or animal or as an enemy, he does not get disturbed by that. See? Like in case of Bhagwan Sri Krishna, Kamsa, then Shishupal, they were treating Bhagwan Sri Krishna as their enemy. Then also that Paundraka, the one who was telling that I am the real Vasudeva with the 4 hands, That is the fake one. So you call me, you do my worship, not his. And therefore he is to tie down 2 cloth-made hands and always move like this. This was in Kashi. In Banaras, people are always like that. So, para abhiprayena mitrari pakshayo iva bhavanti iti tulyo mitrari pakshayo iti aha. Therefore, he may not have friends and enemies anywhere, but people may treat him and then he behave the same way. Then sarvarambha parityagi. Now next important. Drishta adrishtarthani karmani arabhyate iti arambhaha. Sarvan arambhan parityaktum shilam asya iti sarvarambha parityagi. Deha dharana matra nimitta vyatirekena sarva karma parityagi ityartha. Now see, if we really mean business on the spiritual path, this is what it is. Sarva arambha parityagi. There is nothing to be done to achieve anything in this world. Then what for you are living? Because you have no authority and freedom to kill yourself. Therefore, deha dharana matra nimitta. That is all. And when you thus really walk the spiritual path with all the sincerity, what will happen? Be very attentive. When you are living because you have no freedom to kill yourself, because the body you are not created, you cannot kill that body, then it is given to you as a trustee. So look after the body. Then what will you do? If you have no interest, anything in this world, then there is only one thing that can happen. You live happily and spread happiness around you. That is all. That is the highest spiritual practice. And when you live happily, you have already transcended all the impacts of the 3 gunas. And if you are happy, then alone you can distribute happiness to others. A miserable person cannot. So, therefore, sarvarambha parityagi. He has nothing to achieve, nothing to prove, nothing to attain, nothing to establish, nothing to leave behind the marks of my presence. No. See, the more you go deeper and deeper in this, you become very aware about all these facts. I remember, when our Swamiji's body was brought to India in Delhi, he was such a disciplinarian, little bit of here and there, he will burst out into a terrible spite of anger. And everything has to be perfect. And we all used to do that. And when his body was brought, kept on the ice blocks, supporting here from one thing, supporting there from one thing, and sitting there. And there, always he used to tell that the moment the consciousness leaves this body is not me. So that consciousness is the reality. Once our attention goes on that, so he is the same sitting there and all chaos around. Now what he is doing? Nothing. So how much time and energy we spend only in this external world without taking care of our own self? Therefore, sarva arambha parityagi gunati tasya uchyate. He is called as beyond the 3 gunas. Now, udasinavad ityadi gunati tasya uchyate iti etat antamuktat yavat yatna sadhyam tavat sannyasinaha anustheyam. So, as long as you require efforts to practice this, till then this is called as anusthana, and we should continue. That means what? If we get hurt anywhere, we should say, oh, my ego is still there, therefore I am getting hurt. If somebody has given me respect and disrespect, that is changing my attitude toward that person, oh, that means I am still far entangled in the 3 gunas. Then I want to do this, I want to do that. Understand, we are still, sarvarambha parityagi is not done. So get yourself withdrawn consciously from this unnecessary involvement in this world. So till such time this happens naturally, this should be taken as anushtanam. So yatna sadhyam yavad tavat sannyasinaha anushteyam. And gunati tattva sadhanam mumukshoho. And this gunati tattva sadhanam the spiritual practice to go beyond the three gunas, mukshoho sthiribhutam tu swasamvedyam. And once you are firmly abiding in this absolute self that you are, then sadgunatityasya yatehe lakshanam bhavati. Then it becomes the description of the man of steady wisdom. It becomes the description of a person who has gone beyond three gunas. So, this is the description of the one who is established, and this is the spiritual practice scheme for the one who is walking the spiritual path. These are the two aspects. Now, adhuna katham cha trin gunan ativartate iti prashnasya prativachanam aha. Now, there is another question. How one can go beyond the three gunas? This is now said. Mam cha yovyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Now the spiritual practice. We are in the third part of Bhagavad Gita, where the knowledge culminates into the experience. 13th chapter, Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. And Dneyam yattat pravakshami yajñatva amrutam achyute. So, this Parabrahma Paramatma na tad asad uchyate na sad uchyate. So we have reached the highest. And then in the 14th chapter we are talking about Gunatita Purusha. He has gone beyond the limitations of the three gunas relativity. After having come to such a peak in the spiritual thought, what is the spiritual practice? Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Yaha mam avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Therefore, never underestimate the importance of devotion in our life. This is how it's very important. When you do karma with devotion, it becomes karma yoga. When you do yoga abhyas with devotion, it becomes your spiritual practice. Or else it becomes only the acquisition of more powers to fool others. When you practice devotion, the practice of devotion with love, you start leading a totally different lifestyle. And when you are in love with the divine, then only you will want to know what that divine is he other than me or one with me? Therefore, love or the devotion is the foundation of life. This is what Bhagavan says. Mam cha Ishwaram Narayanam Sarva Bhuta Hridaya Shritam Yo Yati Karmi Va Avyabhicharena Na Kadachid Yo Vyabhicharati Bhakti Yogena Bhajanam Bhakti Sa Eva Yogaha Tena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samatitya Etan Yathoktam Brahma Bhuyaya Bhavanam Bhujo Brahma Bhuyaya Brahma Bhavanaya Mokshaya Kalpate Samartho Bhavati Ityarthaha. So, he who Mam Cha Ishwaram Narayanam Sarva Bhuta Hridaya Shritam Yaha Yati Karmi Avyabhicharena Bhajate. So, what is the now practice of going beyond the three gunas? Now, the practice is the insistence of suspicion of divinity in everything and being is the devotion. See? Sarva Bhuta Hridaya Shritam Mam Narayanam Yaha Avyabhicharena Yogena Bhajate. He does not make a mistake in this. See? Avyabhichara yoga means what? He doesn't make a mistake. Vyabhichara means divided loyalty. Our loyalty becomes divided because we have biasness. We have likes and dislikes. And therefore, even in the God also we create differences. Therefore, he who is practicing this, and this is the ultimate practice, See how we start our devotion. We start our devotion that pujadishu anuragaha iti parasharyaha pushti marga. Yesterday one lady came to eat my head. So, Swamiji, I have got some question. Keep it with you, I don't need, I have got sufficient. No, I want you to tell me, what is that? See, my problem is I want to see God. I said, then drop this problem. Why you want to see God? Don't worry about God. Let him be happy wherever he is. No, my problem is we are Pushti Margi. And in our Pushti Marga we belong to the Vallabhacharya Sampradaya. And that Sampradaya Guru becomes our Guru of our next generations. And we have to do all that. And I am not interested in all that. And we are not able to give up that. And I want to make a Guru. No, I am not able to understand what I should do. See? The real devotion is, how long are you going to get lost only in these differences? So we start first with the personal God worship. Then we grow. What is the growth? Then only personal worship doesn't attract our mind. We want to sing the glory, listen the katha, and think about God all the time. Then that also cannot continue long. Then you want to know the Lord as your own essential self. And for that we begin seeing the God in all the creation. So the third step is seeing the divine presence in everybody. And this is called as the devotion. And now see what happens. When I start looking at the world, we look at the world according to what we have considered ourselves to be. See? There are some ladies who are always working on this one issue. What is the one issue? That women's liberation. Now what is women's liberation? So much identification with the physical body and so much collecting only those assorted cases where the woman is tortured by the man. On the basis of that, develop a platform where you can survive. And they claim to be the great. But we do not know that it is other way also. I know one family, that boy got married according to the selection of the mother only, to that girl. And that girl came from Calcutta, a Bengali girl, got married to this boy. Within the first 24 hours, the first thing, mother-in-law should get out of the house. If you don't do this, I'll make your life miserable. Within 24 hours. And the husband said, no, but how can we? There is nothing how can. She has to get out, means get out. If no, then you see what happens. It is not possible. She cannot go out. Okay, don't do. She went to the police station and filed a case. Last night, my husband, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law were trying to burn me alive because we have not given the dowry. So I may be given police protection. Immediately warrant issued to catch hold of their mother-in-law. Their mother-in-law know very well. She has served me not for a day or two, for 20 years. She is such a divine lady. But she is condemned like that. Now in this, what women's liberation will do? Therefore, it is very, very essential that we look at the world what we have considered ourselves to be. If I have started living as a spiritual person, I will start seeing spiritual aspect and glow in everyone. This is the meaning of Avyavichari Bhakti. Otherwise, we get sidetracked from the goal of our life. Now, such a person, so Bhakti Yogena Sevate, he starts seeing the divine in everybody around. Now, see what happened next. When you start seeing divine everybody in everybody around you, what will be your attitude towards everybody? When you are going and there is a temple-like thing, you have never seen also that. And if you are going, you just see, so why? There is a God, we must respect. Now when we are able to think of God's presence even in a stone, can't we suspect the divinity in the living being? Therefore, this is called as bhakti yogena sevate. Then, saha etan gunan samatitya samyak atitya. He alone then goes beyond all these three gunas and brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He alone becomes fit to know the truth as his own essential self. Now what is the meaning of brahma bhuyaya kalpate? Kalpate means samartho bhavati. Then he alone has the capacity to ultimately merge in the absolute. So there are two things. One is the desire. Second thing is the ability. We may have desire, but do we have the ability? So that ability development is called as the spiritual practice. And what is that ability? Ability to see divinity. Now, to start seeing the divinity, we have so many spiritual practices in the path of devotion. Now here Bhagavan says very simple, yaha avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. We never lose track of the divine presence in everything and being. Now here, please also understand, that does not mean that anybody, everybody you see, you start doing Sashtang Namaskar on the road and block the traffic. No. That means when you recognize the divine presence in anybody, you respect his presence. And how do we respect his presence? By giving proper attention. That is the meaning. We have no reason to condemn anybody in this world. And if, like, mitrari pakshayoho, but if there are some people who are bent upon disturbing, troubling you, towards them, we remain totally indifferent. In short, our peace of mind is the instrument by which we can see the divine presence. And this technique is called as avyabhichari bhakti. That devotion because of which we do not stray away from our own divine self. Avyabhichari bhakti. Now, kutaha etaditi uchyate. Now, how this devotion can lead us to this Parabrahma Paramatma, Brahma Bhavanaya Kalpate. You are devoted to the Lord and you become Brahman. How it is possible? In the last verse, Brahmano hi pratisthaham amrutasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ekantikasya cha. ब्रह्मणः परमात्मनः हि यस्मात् प्रतिष्ठा अहम प्रतिष्ठति अस्मिन् इति प्रतिष्ठा अहम प्रत्यगात्मा. So this Pratyagatma, our essential self, is the Pratishtha of the Parabrahma Paramatma. Means what? Parabrahma Paramatma is always recognized as one's own essential self. See, all other devotions to the Saguna Sakar is always as other than I. But this absolute, attributeless, Nirguna Nirakar reality can be recognized only as Pratyagatmataya. And therefore, Brahmanaha Paramatmana hi yasmat pratishtha aham asmi. This I is the pratishtha. If I is not there, my wife is not there. If I is not there, my religion is not there. If I is not there, my God is not there. If I is not there, my Guru is not there. If I is not there, Brahman is not there. So this aham. But the whole problem is which aham? And this is all the spiritual practice. Ayam aham kuto bhavati. Who is this aham? That is why our real spiritual practice begins when our attention is not on anything else except the I. Who am I? So Brahmano him pradishtaham. So aham pratyagatma. Kidrushasya brahmanaha. What kind of Brahmans? I am the pratishta, the support. Amrutasya avinashinaha. That Brahman which is never destroyed. Is it not our experience? We have never experienced our own destruction. We have never experienced our absence. We have never experienced our death. And therefore, Pratishtha means here, Brahmanaha Swatma Swarupena Avasthanam is meant over here. So, Amrutasya Avinashinaha Avyasya cha Avikarinaha. Nor we have ever experienced any vikar. So, that Brahman which does not undergo any modification, and therefore we are not talking about the Saguna Sakara Brahma. And then Shashvatasya cha, and this Brahma is Shashvata, ever the same, uninfluenced by the time of past, present, future, and Nityasya Dharmasya Jnana Yoga Dharma Prapyasya Sukhasya. And also that Brahman which is eternal, which is of the nature of the dharma, which is attained through the jnana yoga dharma, etc. And atyantikasya sukhasya. So what is the ekantika sukha? Ekantika sukha is that sukham which is uncompromisingly the same. Atyantika means unique. Atyantika means yam labdhva na cha param labham manyate nadikam tadaha. Yasmin sthito na dukkhe na guru na api vichalyate. So vidyatam sukham atyantikam yattat buddhi grayam atindriyam vetti yatra vachayvayam stitascharatina tattvataha. So it is this atyantikam brahmana sukham. I am the substratum of all them. Means what? This description of the Parabrahma Paramatma, the absolute immortal reality, as Amruta, Avyaya, Shashvata and Aikantika Sukha. This is all the description of our own essential self. In this manner, this I is the substratum of this Brahman. Now, Amritadi Swabhavasya Paramatmanaha Pratyagatma Pratishtha Samyak Jnanena Paramatmataya Nishchiyate. And therefore, what is meant is, one comes to recognize that the self, individual self, is nothing but the absolute self. This is the meaning of this Pratishtha. So, Pratyak Samyak Jnanena Paramatmataya Nishchiyate is called as Pratishtha. Now, Tad Etad Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate Utyuktam. And this is what is meant by the statement that he who does the bhakti, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. This is the meaning of Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. He discovers himself to be none other than the Brahman. Yatha yaya cha Ishvara Shaktya Bhaktanugrahadi Prayojanaya Brahma Pratishtate Pravartate Sa Shakti Brahma Eva Aham Shakti Matoho Ananyatvat iti Abhiprayah. And that power of the Lord, because of which to grace and to shower his blessing on his devotees, the Parabrahma Paramatma expresses with his divine grace. That divine grace is none other than the Parabrahma Paramatma, because they are one, Ananyatvat, and that Shakti is none other than me. What is meant here is, be very attentive. The grace of the Lord, when it starts manifesting in our heart, it is called as the devotion. The grace of the Lord, when it starts manifesting in our heart, it is called as faith. The grace of the Lord, when it starts manifesting in our heart, it is called as Brahmatmaikya Bodha. And this is what is meant over here. Athava, or another one, Brahma Shabda Vachyatvat Savikalpam Brahma Tasya Brahmanaha Nirvikalpakaha Aham Eva Na Anya Pratishtha Ashrayaha. Or when we say Brahmana Aham Pratishtoham, so which Brahman? When we say the Brahman, the Saguna Sakara, who is the creator of this world. So, this relative Brahman, the Savikalpakam Brahma, the Pratishtha, the support of this Brahman is Nirvikalpa Brahma, and I am that Nirvikalpa Brahma. Means what? I have no Vikalpa about it. I am firmly established in this knowledge, in this manner. Now, Kim Vishishtasya, which is that special Brahman of which I is the Pratishtha, Amrutasya Amarana Dharmakasya Avyasya Vyaya Rahitasya cha. So, that Brahman which is never destroyed, Saguna Sakara is never destroyed, because it is nothing but the manifest reality. So, and Vyaya Rahitasya cha, which does not change, it is ever the same. Kincha Shashvatasya cha Nityasya Dharmasya Jnana Lishta Lakshanasya Sukhasya. So, and also the Shashvata Dharma, which is of the nature of the Jnana Nishta, which is of the nature of the firm abidance in this Brahmatmaikya Bodha, firm abidance in this absolute blissful state. Sukhasya tad janitasya ekantikasya pratishtha. And as a result of this Brahmatmaikya Bodha, resulting into the absolute bliss, that I is the substratum, support of this absolute bliss. Means what? This aham alone has to be recognized. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyomanna. That mantra is mentioned in this particular mantra of Bhagavad Gita. Our Swami Akhandanji Maharaj, he has brought out another interpretation of this particular verse. He says, it's so unique. He says that in this verse, in this chapter, 14th chapter, Bhagavan has used this word Brahma as to indicate the Prakriti. See, when he says Mama Yonir Mahat Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadamyam. So, Mama Yonir Mahat Brahma. So here Mahat Brahma is referring to the Mahat Tattva. So, for the Prakriti and the manifestation of the Prakriti, the word Brahma is used in this 14th chapter. And therefore, when he says Brahmano hi pratishtaham, what he means, that the Prakriti, Trigunatmika Prakriti, is supported by this Aham. See how beautiful. And therefore, when we are talking about the Gunatita Purusha, what we are talking about, the same thing what was said in the 13th chapter. Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. This aham, which is supporting the Trigunatmika Prakriti at a samashti, at a totality level, is the same aham who is supporting the Trigunatmika Prakriti at the individual level as the body, the sense organs and the experiences of the world. This is the meaning. Therefore, here Brahmano hi pratishtaham, and this Prakriti Maya, how it is? Amrutasya. Bhagavan's Maya cannot be destroyed. And Avyaya, it remains the same. There is only change in the composition of the three gunas. But that does not mean it has changed. Similarly, Shashvata Dharma. And this is the Shashvata Dharma, ever the same. And Sukhasya Ekantikasya cha. And I am that absolute reality who is the bestower of all the happiness which is provided by the Prakriti for the Jiva. Remember, Bhogapa Vargartham. So, this happiness which is gained by the Jiva even through the Prakriti, I am the source of that all bliss. In this manner, this 14th chapter gives us the most beautiful exposition on the various aspects of the Prakriti and the Purusha. And therefore, the Prakriti is explained here in the form of three gunas, what are the signs, what are the activities, what are the impact, what happens when these three gunas are prominent, and how the three gunas develop our character. Because of that, what happens when we are alive? Because of that, what happens when we die? Everything is explained, and also then was told that these three gunas are supported by the absolute reality that we are. Therefore, those who go beyond the impact and the limitations of these three gunas, they alone Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. And such a person who has gone beyond the three gunas, what is he like? Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava. By this, the teacher tells his personal experience. He is never disturbed or never expecting anything to happen again, because he is abiding in his own self. And so also the worldly interactions do not disturb him, whether from his side or from other people's side. This condition, this state, this experience of being beyond the limitation, how we get it? We get it through the path of devotion. And devotion means what? Insistence of seeing the divine presence in and through everything and being is devotion. And then we come to know that love is the only way by which we can discover that as much we can love ourselves, so much we can love the whole world, if we have discovered that I is the substratum of the whole world. Like all the waves are loved by the ocean, all the ornaments are loved by the gold. In the same manner, this Mahatma is able to love and accept the whole world as it is. This is how the 14th chapter gives us the most beautiful exposition for practicing our spiritual life. So, Om Tassadati Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturdashodhyayaha. We have thus concluded the 14th chapter. Now next we'll start the 15th chapter. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.